Okay, good. I think we can start our webinar. So, hello everyone. Nice to meet you. I am Sarah from ISERD. I have the pleasure to introduce today our webinar about IHI Joint Undertaking Partnership. This webinar is a collaboration between ISERD and IHI representatives, and I have the Health NCP National Contact Point, which means that I am your contact for the funding opportunities in the health sector under the consortium program. Okay, so I am here with Nati, the director of the Life Sciences Department at ISERD. Nati will say a word as well just after this slide. We decided to organize this webinar around the IHI JU Partnership to encourage participation of Israeli entities and maximize your success rates. We built this webinar in collaboration with IHI representatives. We are very lucky to have the kind participation of IHI experts. We have Elisabetta Vodano from the IHI office, Nicolas Kreff from FPA, Patrick Boisseau from MedTech Europe, and Giedre Kvedaravician from COSIR. So thank you all. And before starting with the agenda, Nati, please, you have the floor. We don't hear you, Nati.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nati Blochdamti, Senior Director for the Life Science Department at the ISERD, the Israeli Registrate for Horizon Europe. This is a very special occasion since usually we do webinars on calls, but this time we wanted to introduce to the general public in Israel this wonderful partnership, IHI Joint Undertaking. And we have the honored guests with us. So thank you very much, Nicola, Elisabetta, and Patrick for joining us. And we will have Kvedaria join us a little bit later. She'll be joining soon. This is a great opportunity to get in-depth understanding of this very special partnerships. There are several such partnerships in different fields within Horizon that work in industry and European Commission together. And we are here for you to give you a better understanding of the purpose of this partnership and the great opportunities that align in this. So good luck, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Nati. So regarding the agenda for today, I will start by presenting ISERD. This part will be in Hebrew, with your permission. Then Elisabetta from the IHI office will explain what is IHI and will give an overview of the IHI Call 8. That's 4 new calls, 4 new funding opportunities that opened last week. And then Nicolas, Patrick, and Giedre will present the trade associations, explain the application process, and will also give tips on how to connect with industry. Regarding the questions, feel free to use the chat. It can be the chat or the Q&A all along the webinar, and our experts will answer directly. And if necessary, we will take some breaks after each presentation to reply verbally to some unanswered questions. So with your permission, I am now switching to Hebrew for a quick presentation of ISERD and Horizon. אז שוב, נעים מאוד לכולם, אני שרה, אני עובדת ב-ISERD בצוות מדעי החיים שנתי מנהלת. אני האשת קשר שלכם לכל הזדמנויות מימון בתחום הבריאות בתוכנית המאגדים. נסביר בשקפים הבאים מה זה אומר בדיוק. אז ISERD שייכת לרשות החדשנות, היא המנהלת ישראל אירופה למו"פ וחדשנות. היא הוקמה ב-1996 כדי שישראל תשתתף לתוכנית הורייזון, וישראל הייתה המדינה הנלווית הראשונה שהצטרפה לתוכנית. אז מה זה תוכנית הורייזון? זאת התוכנית האירופית של הזדמנויות מימון במחקר ופיתוח, וזה מאז 1984. המטרה של האיחוד היא לחזק את המחקר הטכנולוגי של אירופה, והיא כוללת מענקים בכל התחומים הטכנולוגיים ובכל שלב בחיי המו"פ. אז בשקף הזה, זה שקף קצת מסובר, אני אסביר בכמה מילים. בשקף הזה ניתן לראות את מבנה תוכנית הורייזון. קודם כל, התוכנית הורייזון ל7 שנים מ-21 עד 27 הוא קרוב ל-100 מיליארד יורו, והתוכנית מחולקת ל3 חלקים עיקריים, מה שהייחוד קורא להם פילרים. מה שחשוב לדעת זה שאנחנו זה התוכנית המאגדים וכולל IHI, אנחנו נמצאים בפילר השני, זה הפילר העיקרי, גם מבחינת תקציב וגם מבחינת קולות קוראים ואפשרויות מימון. הוא נקרא תחרותיות תעשייתית ואתגרים עולמיים. בפילר הזה יש חלוקה לפי תחומים טכנולוגיים שלכל אחד קוראים קלוסטר. וכך קלוסטר אחד הוא זה המוקדש לבריאות. יש לנו גם את הפילר הראשון שנקרא Excellent Science, מצוינות טכנולוגית, והפילר השלישי שעוסק כולו במצוינות וחדשנות בתעשייה. עכשיו, מה לגבי תנאי השתתפות לתוכנית המאגדים ול-IHI? אמרתי קודם שההגשה היא במאגדים, אבל עכשיו מה זה אומר מאגד למי שלא מכיר? מאגד זה פרויקט שבו עובדים ביחד לפחות 3 שותפים מ3 מדינות שונות ולפחות שותף אחד מהאיחוד. אוקיי? יש לנו את 27 מדינות של האיחוד מצד שמאל, ומצד ימין המדינות נלוות שהן לא חלק מהאיחוד האירופי אבל משלמות דמי השתתפות שבזכות זה הן יכולות להשתתף בתוכנית כמו ישראל. אני מוסיפה פה שהמאגדים הם פתוחים לכל גוף, לכל ישות משפטית. המטרה שלנו ב-ISERD זה למקסם את ההשתתפות של ישראל בתוכנית ההורייזון, כולל IHI, ואנחנו כאן כדי להכיר לכם את כל ההזדמנויות הקיימות, וגם ללוות אתכם בכל תהליך ההגשה, כדי להגדיל את אחוז הזכייה. אז עכשיו, איך אנחנו יכולים לעזור לכם? קודם כל, אתם מוזמנים לפנות אליי כדי לדעת מה ההזדמנויות מימון הקיימות. הבנתם עכשיו שאנחנו עובדים על בסיס קולות קוראים, וזה אומר שאם למשל היום אתם לא מזהים מתחת תוכנית IHI קול קורא שרלוונטי לכם, אנחנו נוכל לעבור ביחד על כל ההזדמנויות שיש מתחת תוכנית המאגדים. וברגע שאתם מזהים קול קורא רלוונטי, כמו שהסברתי קודם, צריך לבנות מאגד מסביב לגול הקורא עם שותפים שביחד איתם תוכלו לענות לכל הדרישות של הקול הקורא. זה האתגר השני של התוכנית, וכן צריך לעבוד קשה, אבל תדעו שיש לנו כמה כלים כדי לעזור לכם. אני לא אפרט עכשיו, אבל תפנו אליי ברגע שאתם מזהים קול קורא רלוונטי לכם. עכשיו, ברגע שיש לכם קול קורא ולפחות שותף אחד באירופה, אתם יכולים לקבל עזרה מבודק מהרשות החדשנות שיש לו ניסיון גם בהגשות להורייזון וגם בתחום שלכם, ושיוכל ללוות אתכם בבניית הפרויקט. מדובר בשירות ללא תשלום, מדובר ב-15 שעות. וברגע שההגשה שלכם מוכנה, לפחות 30 ימים לפני הדדליין, בודק מהרשות יכול לעבור על ההגשה שלכם ולתת את הפידבק שלו. זה גם שירות ללא תשלום, מדובר על 10 שעות. אז זה לגבי ISERD ותוכנית הורייזון. We will now move to the second part with Elisabetta regarding Elisabetta from the IHI office regarding IHI and the upcoming calls. Elisabetta, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and I think it's good talk or something. Well, good afternoon. And I would like just to give you a little overview of the IHI and also of the next future funding opportunities. Just with the caveat that you find all the information on our website and on the topic text document. So I will really just skip on the surface and really, first of all, recommend you to read very carefully this important text. Next slide, please. So first of all, what is IHI? And this is a public-private partnership for health. So the area where we work is health innovation, and we are a collaboration. And you will hear much more from the representative of the industry association, because indeed IHI is a collaboration from one side, the European Commission that with the funding from Horizon Europe, but most importantly from the other side, we have the industry that are the members of the association, and really just joining forces, we implement our program and our project. Next slide, please. And here is that you will hear much more. So this they will explain everything about the association, where they are, the members. But just to say that the public and the private work together, and one cannot do without the other in IHI. Next slide, please. So, so just to say, so IHI, as I say, we are public-private partnership, so which is also reflected in our office, in our governance, which is we have a governing board where we have representative both from the European Commission and also from the association, and so all the program is decided by the board, which is a public-private partnership. This is, I think, is very important. But of course, since we are using taxpayer money, we also have all a system, of course, for ensuring that we use every cent in the more responsible way. And we also have advisor from the state representatives group, and most important from our science innovation panel. Next slide, please. So, but how do we generate our topic? Next slide, please. So first of all, IHI is part of Horizon Europe. As such, we are expected to contribute to the solution on the main societal challenges that are in Europe and in Israel, and also to contribute to the UN objective as indicated in these slides. And this comes from both starting from the operational level, the project, but also, of course, from the program level then, and indeed then also contribute at the broad Horizon Europe objective. Next slide, please. And we are so, as such, we also expected to contribute to EU policies, and our project, therefore, are also contributing to and expected to contribute to different strategies like Industrial Strategy for Europe, but also European Beating Cancer Plan and the European Health Data Space, for example. Next slide, please. So we have a legislation that is the council regulation, where there are indicated the specific objective and also the, let's say, the nuts and bolts of overall how the innovative health initiative should work. This the content, the scientific content, have been translated in the strategic research and innovation agenda. They give the general, let's say, direction. Then, of course, we have generation of idea for cold topic, which come from different stakeholders. They can be industry, they can be also scientists, they can be the European Commission. All this get reviewed by our Science Innovation Panel, and then they get integrated in our annual work program, where they are translated as topics that we launch under calls for proposal. And then indeed, we implement by launching this call that are launched for the multiple time a year. Next slide, please. And just a little snapshot. So for what concerns our objective, you can see on the right, we have a very high level general objective that really are the safe, effective health innovation to help and foster the delivery of safe, effective innovation. Of course, to also help the industry to its innovation and its competitiveness. And of course, last but not least, to turn health research and innovation to real benefit for patient and society. Because still we have a lot of research that still remain in the lab and never become really something reality. And then we have also our specific objective, which are indicated on the left, and they are separate but intermingling and really contacted. And you can see, I think, really what is very important is that we have a really patient-centered and people-centered approach to innovation. Next slide, please. So as I said, all our objectives, they are developing strategic research innovation agenda, really on focus on cross-sectorial approaches to facilitate creation of new product and service on the whole spectrum from prevention to interception, diagnosis, treatment, management of disease, really to line the foundation of new innovation. And most importantly, the IHI project in the great majority, they are pre-competitive level. So we are not there to really develop a product and service per se, but really to facilitate, to create the basis that then will help the stakeholder to get on to their business in a more efficient way. Next slide, please. And to do this, we have a quite generous budget. We have funding of 1.2 billion provided by the European Union, which, however, we cannot spend if we don't have at the same time leveraging of at least 1 billion that is provided by the member of the Industry Association and up to 200 million from contributing partners. And we are really have this much in principle at program level, which is and also reflected at project level. Next slide, please. So if we come to the calls, we have two types of call to proposal that are either the single stage and where all the stakeholders come together, and we have both contribution and funding provided by IHI that is delivered, let's say, at the same time. And I will not go much in detail today, also for avoid confusion of applicant. And then, but we have also two-stage call where first we have an alignment of industry to decide an area where they really need to leverage together their resources, and they think it's very important to work together, and therefore they align and they decide on the objective or the deliverable or that should be delivered by a topic. And then we launch the call and the public applicant will apply, and we will select with the help of expert the best proposal that will then join the industry to then implement a topic. Next slide, please. And just to say what is important for what eligibility rule. So who can participate to our call? In general, everybody is very welcome to participate to our call, and both participants that come from Europe, from associated countries, but also beyond. But for what concerns the rules is that we need to have at least 3 independent legal entities established in a single member state or associated country. And at least one has to be in a member state of the European Union. What is also important is that if on one side everybody is very welcome to be a participant in our project, not everybody is eligible to receive public funding. And also this depends on the type of call, single stage call or two-stage call. They have different different principle, and importantly, in any case, in any project, there must be at least contribution from the industry consortium, from the industry representative or contributing partner, at least 45%, and actually we recommend around at least 50%. But this is a specificity that is more critical for single stage call, which are not in the scope of this info days. We will call about a two-stage type of call. Next slide, please. So indeed, now I will concentrate or give you a bit of information of the call 8, which include 4 topics. I will skim through this topic. Just important information here, the title and the deadline for the short proposal that is the 10th of October this year. And you have all information on our website. Next slide, please. And just to say, this is a two-stage procedure. What will happen is that now the call is open for the short proposal, that are proposal of applicant that want to apply to receive the public funding, the IHI funding, and which will be a mixture of different stakeholders. Very important, read very carefully because, and I will show you also in a snapshot, because for each topic, there is the necessity for implementing and reaching all the outcome of a constellation of stakeholders that need to be joining together, and then our expert will select the first one, the first ranked, the best one that respond better to the topic text, and this will be invited to join the pre-identified industry consortium, which is already members are listed in the topic text together with their contribution, and then they will have to work together to submit a full proposal. We will do again an evaluation. There will be a go-no-go decision, and then if everything goes well, we will be able to launch this project that will be generated by the topic. So in this type of call, one topic, one proposal will win one project at the end. Next slide, please. And here is just a little reminder for the eligibility rules for these two type of calls. So we have and what concern the funding. So eligible for funding are all the one on the top, and that are on the type of the legal entity. The type of legal entity is important, and also the location of the legal entity. Remember that for type of call, not eligible for funding are the member of the pre-identified industry consortium and any legal entities which is a for-profit legal entity with annual turnover of 500 million euro or more, or that of course another entity that is linked to the member of the pre-identified industry consortium. Next slide, please. So just really to give you a little snapshot, I will go very fast, just to say you really read all the information in the topic text. The first topic is about a city-based approach to reducing cardiovascular mortality in Europe. And the idea is really the fact that we have a lot of really important and impactful issue that impact on cardiovascular health in cities, where there is a big issue like pollution, like a green spaces, stressful lifestyle, and so on. And therefore, it is important to understand this factor and start to induce some new innovation in this environment that could then, of course, be also translated to benefit for all the people that suffer from cardiovascular diseases. And so the idea, next slide, please, is really to, this topic is really to try to contribute to create some project, so that will be, in case will be one project that will really take a benefit both for patient and citizens, for healthcare provider, for healthcare system decision maker, and payer and regulator, research, and include stakeholder to really address, as is shown here, achieve some important outcomes for the benefit of all of this. And I will read you later, so I will not read what is in the slide. Next slide, please. And this is also what is very important is the fact that to achieve this outcome to be obtained, it is absolutely critical that all the stakeholders work together, and IHI will contribute the framework for all the stakeholders to work together in the public-private cross-sectorial collaboration, and because there are many different actors that need really to work together in order to develop this solution together, and collaboration is really a must for such important challenge. And next slide, please. And for this type of this topic, we have an industry consortium that is shown here of many different members, both of the different associations. And what I would like to focus here is the fact that all this industry will come will propose also a very important contribution that you can read here. It is extremely important that you as applicant, when you read the topic text, you really understand what the industry is bringing on the table, so that you can really think about how you can best really benefit in the proposal that you will submit of this industry contribution to create a successful public-private partnership and deliver the outcome. And the expert will look at the way in which you are able to really complement this contribution provided by the industry. Next slide, please. And also another important thing is that in the topic test is to define very clearly which expertise and resources are expected to be brought into the project to create this partnership. So for example, here you can see a lot of different type of expertise, from clinical practice in cardiovascular disease to health economic and outcome, artificial intelligence, but also important stakeholder to be incorporated in your consortium, like for example, public health and health research institution, institution, hospital, healthcare provider, etc. So this is very important that when you prepare your proposal, you think about of the two sides. What is the industry bringing on the table and what you should bring in the table, because that will be really paramount for your success. And also you will have some asset, you will have some data platform, you will have some education and training infrastructure, which are also defined in the topic text. And it will be important for you to know that the expert will look at all the element that you bring on the table and how they fit what is requested in the topic text. Next slide, please. And just to say, coming from the key fact, there is a financial contribution, so the funding that is available for the applicant is 50 million, and the industry is coming with 50 million of indicative in-kind contribution. But more than the financial amount, you really have to think about the content of what are the important resources that the industry is bringing to the table. And it is expected that to achieve what the topic should achieve, a project will have a duration of at least around 72 months, but this is still not in stone, since will have to be defined by the whole consortium. Next slide, please. And the other topic are also is a very important topic, is about novel endpoint for osteoarthritis by applying big data analytics. And here is really important problematic to the fact that this is a very important healthcare problem, the one of osteoarthritis. And there are so many data out there that could really, using a big data approach, will really help to improve the understanding of this important disease and identify subgroup of patients who can benefit the best from the different treatment and innovation. Next slide, please. And here is just, again, what are the expected outcome, so that the topic should achieve. And just also another important point, remember that the difference from other Horizon Europe applicants are expected to address all the outcomes that are indicated in the topic text. So it is important that when you create your consortium, you think about creating a partnership, creating a consortium that is able to deliver all the different points. Next slide, please. And again, very important is the fact that you need to think really public-private partnership when you create your consortium of, let's say, public participant, to get really the best possible half that they will join with the industry to create really a framework under the IHI framework, to create really the best possible consortium to be able to achieve the objective. Next slide, please. And here, as you see, again, there are quite a lot of companies that are really joining forces and providing their resources to help to achieve the objective that are in this topic. And here, interesting, you see both members of the association, but we have also some contributing partners that are all joining forces together, and they will provide, for example, activity like ongoing studies that will leverage their data coming from this study. We will have expertise, we will have technology. So very important contribution coming from the industry. Next slide, please. And again, very important, if you want to leverage and really take the benefit of the industry side, you need, sorry, unfortunately, I'm a bit sick today. Also to really have the important expertise and resources from the public side, as they are shown in this slide. Apologies. Next slide, please. And here you can see indeed both the financial contribution and the in-kind contribution from industry. And the duration is expected to be around 60 months to be again discussed. Next slide, please. The third topic is a bit another important area, but quite different, because it's is the regulatory sandbox that is ready to try to model the new way to create to allow innovator, really a regulator, to explore together how to best regulate a novel technology so that the user are protected, but innovation are not on the same time held back and therefore never reaching the patient. Next slide, please. And really, it is important again to identify that all the different outcome has to be achieved, and there will be both, as are indicated in this this slide, and then again using a public-private partnership approach. Next slide, please. That is really critical, especially for a topic of this type, really to create an engagement across a different sector in multidisciplinary collaboration, and to build trust, which is essential to ensure the adoption of resulting mechanism and future output that will come from this very important topic. Next slide, please. And again, here, importantly, we have many members of the industry association, like are indicated, and they will come with many different critical contribution from R&D, including manufacturing, clinical development, regulator, but also medical and health affairs and communication, input on patent decision making, and organizational design, all expertise that will never be available to a public consortium, and they will be leveraged instead, taking thanks to the IHI model. Next slide, please. And to be able to join forces in the more optimal way, it's important that the applicant come with the correct expertise and resources, like are indicated in these slides. And importantly, for this topic, applicants are also expected to propose case studies that will be discussed together with the pre-identified industry consortium during the preparation of the full proposal. Next slide, please. And again, here is just the budget, so the funding that you can apply to, just to remember, is always the GU contribution that you should consider when you prepare your proposal for the short proposal for the first stage. And then when there will be the full proposal, of course, the budget will reflect also the contribution that, in case in this topic, also including an extra 100,000 euro that will be allocated in the full proposal, so at the second stage. So you should not consider this 100,000 when you are preparing your budget for the first stage application. And here also the indicated duration is around 33 months. Next slide, please. The last topic is the topic that is reflect very much the patient centricity of IHI and this patient-centered clinical study endpoint derived using digital health technology, and is really trying to address the problem that there are many ways of assessing the impact of a therapy on how a patient will feel and function, and this measure are complementary. Most important insight will likely come from a combination, but this is really not trivial, and therefore it's important to reflect how to develop a better framework to tackle this challenge. Next slide, please. And indeed, that is exactly what this topic would like to deliver by addressing and achieving all the outcomes that are indicated in these slides, which will benefit the different stakeholders in the healthcare ecosystem, and in particular, the patient. Next slide, please. And of course, in order to better deliver something that is fit for purpose for all stakeholders, it's absolutely important that all stakeholders are around the table, especially in a topic like this, and that there is so that all the innovation and the solution are developed together and with all the stakeholders. So are importantly should be developed, should be included, as is indicated in the topic text, and is also shown in this slide. Next slide, please. Again, also in this case, the industry come with a quite important contribution that come from many different members, are they shown here, and they can be also important result insight from ongoing studies, real world evidence, different type of expertise, data platform, as is shown in this slide. It is very important, again, if you want to write a proposal for this, please consider carefully the contribution that are already brought on the table by the industry consortium. Next slide, please. And then also, of course, then consider that you have to find the right member in your consortium that can have all the expertise resources that are expected to be brought in the final proposal and in the project, as are indicated in these slides. And next slide, please. From the financial figure, you can see here. So for first stage proposal, you should consider that the financial contribution is a little bit more than 12 million euro, and that this will have to leverage with the contribution of around 9.4 million from the industry and also from contributing partner 3.8 million of euro. And the duration of the expected project is of 60 months. Next slide, please. So here I really went very fast, but just to say, because actually I don't want you to focus too much on the slides. We have a lot of material, also info day that have been run with all the information on the topic that you can hear from the voice of the topic writer. There is a lot of information also on the mechanism and on the rules that you can find in the important webinar. There is also a very useful document that has been produced by the National Accountant Network, where you have all the links and also very organized links to different type of questions. So you can just click and then you can see and get to the right point in the webinar where the question was asked and answered. And all the information is always available for you on the IHI website. Next slide, please. And as we say, please remember that it takes time to prepare a consortium. Remember, so start as soon as possible. And it is a long-term investment, so take the time. Think always public-private partnership. For single stage is not relevant, so I will not stop on this. But really importantly, read the topic text. Each comma in the topic text, especially for the two-stage, counts. They are very precise, so you are really expected to answer to very precisely to what is written in the topic text. And remember also to write clearly so that the expert can at the best read and evaluate your proposal. And if you have any question, remember that you can always contact us, and here is the email. Next slide, please. And here just also some tips for funding project partner. There are different online resources that you can use, but most importantly, but please remember that you are not allowed to contact the member of the pre-identified industry consortium. This is very important. I am at the last slide. Yes, just to say this also, that if you have a good idea, you can also come to IHI with your idea if you don't see them in a topic, because then you can send idea, and this might become or be incorporated in a part of a future topic. And we have all information on our website. Next slide, please. So please stay in touch, and thank you very much for your attention. And apologies for the cough.
Thank you very much, Elisabetta. And if there are no questions, I'm checking. Okay, my address email, I will give it. And okay, if there are no questions, we will move to Nicolas, Patrick, and Guédré. So, Nicolas, please, the floor is yours, and you can share your presentation.
Okay, so will be me starting the presentation. I just see that there was a question how we can contact Sarah for questions. So the details are in.
Yeah, we'll send it. We'll send it. No worries.
Okay, good. So good afternoon, everyone. It's a huge pleasure to be here. And Elisabetta did an excellent job in presenting the IHI program as well as COL8. So the presentation, which will be given by me and my colleagues, Patrick and Nicholas, is about, you can say the same, but from an industry angle. And let me start with moving to the next. So what we will try to cover is what is IHI, just briefly going through, not repeating ourselves on points that Elisabetta has already covered. Introduce our associations, who we are, what we do, and what is our role in IHI. Also provide our arguments why participate in IHI, how to participate in IHI, and how to engage with industry. So first, let's start with what is IHI. So IHI, as Elisabetta already said, it's Europe's new partnership for health of public and private nature. It is built on extensive experience of IMI, 14 years and almost 200 projects. And at IHI, the industry members that make up the new partnerships are COSIR, FPA, EuropaBio, MedTech Europe, and Vaccines Europe. Next slide, please. So once again, half of the contributions come from healthcare industries, half come from a European Commission. And collaboration extends to programming, financing, and public and private partners collaborating on individual projects. Next slide. Okay, so with that, I will pass the floor. Okay, no, first one, I'm still covering this one, right? The healthcare industries in IHI, what is covered? Pharmaceutical industry is represented by FPA. COSIR represents medical imaging, radiotherapy, health ICT, and electromedical industries. MedTech Europe covers a wide range of medical technology industry. Vaccines Europe represents vaccine industry, and EuropaBio covers biotech industry in relation to healthcare sector. And the next slide. What do associations do? Well, first and foremost, we represent the respective healthcare industry sector vis-a-vis the EU institutions and other stakeholders. We work on IHI representing only, so working on IHI represents only one part of our activities. Otherwise, we do cover a lot of other regulatory and operational topics which are important for our members. Advocacy for that, and the purpose of activities and the membership rules are laid out in each membership statutes. And as it was said, we represent both our industries via direct membership and via national associations. Next slide. What do associations do in IHI? So we provide support related to industry participation in IHI. We do not replicate, what is important to say, the work of the IHI office. We also don't provide consultancies or support of preparation or bilateral matchmaking services. We work with members, both corporate and national associations, to ensure mutual visibility, both in of those companies in IHI, but also of IHI projects per se. We are active in providing tailored information, for example, how to engage with industry, and we collect and address feedback from stakeholders towards the industry. Next slide. Yes.
Thanks, Gudrian. I would take the next few slides. So regarding the different associations, I would start first with FPA. So we represent the research-based pharmaceutical industry in Europe. I'm mentioning research-based, just to be clear, this does not cover, for instance, the field of generic medicines. So FPA is built around the vision that actually of a healthier future for Europe based on prevention, innovation, and access to new treatments and better outcomes for patients. So our mission is to create a collaborative environment that enables our members to innovate and to actually enable this vision. So FPR represents 60 people almost in the association. Our members are 40 companies. On top of that, we have 37 member associations, so representing different countries in Europe, broadly speaking. We have also 38 partners in research, and I'll address that in more details later. FPR also includes the specific group Vaccines Europe, which has 14 members, and we also have an SME group. So before we start about the type of members, regarding the pharmaceutical industry in Europe, just to give you also an idea of also what it represents. So this represents an expenditure in research and development of around 50 billion. Our sector is employing 900,000 people in Europe, of which 130,000 in R&D. And this sector is quite a heavy contributor to the European trade balance. More specifically, just also as a perspective before IHI, in IMI and IMI2, FPR and its members committed 2.4 billion euro to almost 200 projects. So I put the link in the bottom to where you can find more detailed information on this. So as I said, we've been involved in IMI and IMI2. So at that point, the industry was pharmaceutical only. So it was FPR and not yet the medtech industries. So this is quite an important budget. And with IHI, we've transitioned into a partnership which is cross-sectoral with both sectors represented, pharma and medtech. So I will not dwell on this, but here you would see the logos of our main members. You can see that online. So here you can see mostly large pharmaceutical industries. We also have associations roughly everywhere in Europe. We do have also some SME members which we engage with because the objectives and expectations from SMEs sometimes are different from larger companies. And last but not least, we involve also partners in research in IMI and IHI. So this was a type of membership that we had created in IMI in order to engage with companies that are not in the field of pharmaceutical companies. So here you would see, for instance, just to name a few, BASF or Evotech or IQVIA. So they are not pharmaceutical companies, so they don't belong into the standard membership of FPR. But this is a way for us to actually engage with sectors beyond pharmaceutical and beyond medtech now in IHI. So we do have also some members within Vaccines Europe. Some of them are also in the pharmaceutical side, but some are specific to the vaccine industry. And so moving to the next slides, not present today, but Europa Bio is also a founding member on the industry side of IHI. So Europa Bio represents the biotechnologies in Europe, including the biotechnologies related to healthcare. So just to show you some members within Europa Bio, you would see here that some of them are actually FPR members. And actually, where Europa Bio brings a very significant added value is that actually it allows also to engage companies which go beyond the scope of FPR and the pharmaceutical company to cover also the biotech aspect. So this is really where Europa Bio complements also the FPR participation in IHI. There are also national associations that Europa Bio involves in IHI, in particular to reach out to stakeholders for preparation, of course. And so this is all regarding the pharmaceutical and biotech side. So now I would give the floor to Patrick to introduce the medtech side.
Thank you, Nicolas. Good afternoon, all. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So on the medtech side, we have two associations represented today, so Medtech Europe and COSIR. So the scope is slightly different in terms of subsectors. So Medtech Europe is addressing the medical device industry, the in vitro diagnostic, shortened in IVD, and digital health solutions, where COSIR, as already introduced by Guédré, is covering radiotherapy, medical imaging, health ICT, and electromedical. So I will go first about Medtech Europe in the next slide, please. So Medtech Europe, just to give you, let's say, some key figures so that you can maybe compare this slide with the slide presented by AFPR about the market size. Surprisingly, the Medtech sector is usually not as known as the pharma sector because it covers so many projects, so many products, so more than 500,000 different medical devices, more than 50,000 IVD tests. So it's quite a large industry, and this industry is represented by 92% of this industry are small and medium enterprises. So maybe some are present today. And by the way, I think Israel is one of the most innovative countries, let's say, in medtech in Europe. And this is a very, let's say, patent intensive activity industry with more than 50% 50% more than the pharma industry. If we go to the next slide, please. So like most European associations, we are representing so now 160 the largest 160 global companies. Significant part of them being headquartered outside Europe, in the US or in Asia. And we are also representing 60 national associations, which are representing, let's say, I don't know, in Germany, the German Association for Medical Devices, the German Associations for IVD. And it gives me the opportunity to remind you that so Medtech Europe, Europe means the geography and not the European Union only. Next slide, please. Well, like many associations, our purpose is to be the voice of our industry, and just to communicate about, let's say, the medical technologies, the value of these medical technologies, and of course, to interact heavily with the EU institutions about new regulation and policies and legislations. And therefore, we are a trusted partner to EU policymakers and key stakeholders. And last but not least, it is important for our industry to foster the highest ethical standards in the interactions between industry and healthcare professionals. Next slide, please. So we are addressing many different topics which impact our industry. And you can see that one of the most recent area is research and innovation at the bottom of the list. Is just because, let's say, the medtech sector has joined IHI. I would say it's for the first time that we are joining such a big public-private partnership. So we do not have, let's say, the 14 years experience of the pharma industry. And therefore, it explains why some of our members, some of the medtech companies, you know, are not yet very familiar. And basically, they are learning, and exactly like you. So there is no big difference between some of the big medtech companies and some applicants who are discovering IHI from the either small company angle or even from the public side. And I think that's my last slide, if I'm correct. And then we move to Guédré.
Yes, thank you. So COSIR, as it was mentioned multiple times, we do represent a rather specific medical device sector. And COSIR, as a trade association, is a non-profit association operating in since 1959. So it's quite established and experienced one. In terms of our visions and pursuits, we are focused on personalized and sustainable delivery of healthcare, and also on digital data and imaging driven, let's say, solutions. So our industry therefore leads state-of-art advanced technologies and provides integrated solutions covering the complete care cycle. That's how we see ourselves, and this basically defines our focus and priorities. I guess what it's also important to say, which is not on this slide, and even though it's in a way sidetracked, but also COSIR is one of the founding members at DITA, which is an association focusing on harmonization of regulations across the world, and also standardization. So activities that we do at IHI, especially in the regulatory field subjects, we do align that with other processes and other functions which are covered by COSIR activities. Can we move to the next slide, please? So in terms of company members, we have 26 company members. And if we can move to another slide. And 12 national trade associations, which cover an estimate around 2,000 companies. All of them, as I said, focusing on precision medicine, on imaging, and on data solutions in healthcare. And the next slide. Okay, so that takes us to the topic, why participate in IHI?
It's me again. If we can move to the next slide. So anyway, that's maybe the question you're asking yourself, because IHI may look like another European program, and maybe another complex program. So we'll try to demystify IHI and to explain all the benefits of joining IHI. And so the general objectives of IHI is that they're going to turn benefits for patient and society. So it is not a program that is intended to develop, let's say, to generate new knowledge for publication, but to translate research and innovation into solutions and benefits for patient and society. So because, let's say, industry is funding half of the program, it gives a different taste, let's say, to this program if you compare it to the regular European, to the Horizon Europe health cluster projects. The second general objective is to address the full continuum of care, from prevention to diagnostic treatment. And even it goes, let's say, to market access by dealing with regulation, health economics, and so on. So if you look at the strategic research and innovation agenda, which, by the way, is accessible, as Elisabetta mentioned, on IHI website, you can see that the spectrum is very wide, which gives you, let's say, a lot of opportunities, because probably I don't think that any of you couldn't find its place in this spectrum. And last but not least, because industry is, there again, bringing half of the funding of this program, it's also one way to keep Europe health industry globally competitive. And you know how competitiveness of Europe is becoming, let's say, a high political priority in the framework of the current and new European Commission and European Parliament. Next, please. But there again, we mentioned, and you had already a taste, let's say, of the variety of sectors represented. So the pharma sector, the biotech sector, and the medtech sector. But we have an even greater diversity of stakeholders represented in each project. You can have on the public side, you can have citizens, patients, carers. You can also have probably represented today academia, research and technology organizations, learned societies, but also research infrastructures. But sometimes, and what is maybe new for you, you can have regulators, payers, procurers, you can have healthcare professionals, even member states in some cases. So it means that IHI, any IHI project is a neutral playground where you can play, sorry to say play, I mean, or interact with a wide variety of public and private professionals. So it's a unique blend, I would say, and for any participant, by accessing one's consortium, you have access, let's say, to all of the members of this consortium. Next, please. And I mentioned already that these programs, let's say, are trying to deliver new solutions to patients and healthcare professionals in Europe. And here, the one way to explain this in a different way is that IHI is not a program run solely by the European Commission, like Horizon Health Cluster in Horizon Europe, but here the IHI equally associates, let's say, the European Commission and the industry in selecting topics. So it's a good example showing that here the deciders is first the governing board of IHI, where you have, let's say, balanced representation of industry and European Commission. Second point is, I mentioned several times already, 50% of the budget of each project should come from industry, which is an opportunity because let's say it provides the unique opportunity for public partners to interact very closely with industry, but it is also an additional selection criteria. It means you cannot apply with a consortium that has not enough investment from industry. So when we will talk later about how to build a partnership or how to build a consortium, you need to have industry to bringing at least 50% of the budget. I mentioned already that we are trying to deliver direct and concrete impact on the healthcare delivery. And usually IHI projects, they have, I would say, some kind of follow-up beyond the contractual lifetime of the project. Because usually the ambition is so high that even for a project that lasts 4 years, 5 years, usually there are some follow-ups that develop outside of the IHI framework, and in IHI, which has a longer lifetime, I think there are multiple examples on this follow-up of projects. And last but not least, in order to have a transformative impact, you need big money. And so IHI is looking at supporting projects with budget usually higher than 15 million euro. But 15 is really the minimum. We can go to much more, 60, 80 million euro, because then you will mobilize a large group of public and private partners, and you can have a transformative impact. And we really want to have for each project a before and after, which are quite different. So, and I think, I don't know if there is one more slide, just trying to convince you that, well, here, just what are, in short, what are the value of participating in an IHI project? So it's not only for money, even if public participants can be funded up to 100% of their eligible cost, but joining IHI project is more than just getting a European Commission grant. It's one way to cooperate with the wide choice of public and private partners over several years. And I would say, and more if you wish afterwards. It requires strategic commitment and investment in the long term. It's not a one shot just for the next 6 months. It requires an engagement. It is operating in the pre-competitive space. We are not delivering products or a specific product for a specific company, as Elisabetta mentioned already. And it's built, let's say, on the strength and the variety of the European innovation ecosystem. And by putting together these resources, we are building, let's say, for the long-term European research and the European healthcare system. This is a place where you can share, as I mentioned already, beyond money, you can share knowledge, you can share ideas, you can share vision, you can share strategies. And by doing so, you will shape the future of Europe. And last but not least, it is maybe more specific to industry partners. Most of the industrial engagement will come through in-kind contributions. Sometimes, in some specific cases, industry can bring some cash money, but the general rule is that industry is bringing in-kind contributions. So before, let's say, joining or applying to an IHI project, you have to ask yourselves, okay, what do you bring to the project? What is your unique selling point? And what are you expecting from the rest of the consortium? And then the second question is, okay, am I okay to be part of a wider community strategic development? Can I agree to have, let's say, a team work and not, let's say, acting in solo? And last but not least, am I ready for this long-term commitment and that is going usually much more beyond what you have probably experienced in regular European Commission calls. Next slide, please. And so now I give the floor back to Nicolas for explaining you how does it work, how to participate in IHI. Thank you.
Thanks. And now that indeed Patrick has convinced you why to participate in IHI, I'm just going to cover the easy part, how to participate now. I think you've seen in Elisabeth's slides and presentation already that, about call rate, how that works. So basically, the important part for the applicants and for most of the audience today is that, you can participate through the proposal preparation. So you have a topic text and you apply, you're part of a consortium in a single stage or two-stage call. However, sometimes, and I say this just to be honest, also sometimes with audience who are quite not used to European projects, and for them it's difficult to network to get on board new projects. Another possibility is to actually be part of the independent evaluation panels for the call. You can register online, and I think it can give you, of course, you need to keep the information confidential of what you would see, but it gives you a good view also what the good projects are, and if you want to develop one in the future, how to do it. Last, and it's actually the left side on the screen, you can also propose some ideas for future topics to be considered under IHI, which will be assessed by your independent science and innovation panel and by the industry to see to what extent we can develop it into a topic. So there's a link here, and if you check that, I also invite you to look also at the opinions that the SIP gave on previous ideas, just for you to understand what actually is interesting and what maybe is interesting but not fit for IHI. So next slide. So before we talk about how to join a project, it's important to highlight where the topics come from. For instance, the topics that have been presented by Elisabetta earlier. So it's a collaborative process between all the founding partners of IHI. So this means that before we align on a call text in IHI, we get feedback from our members, from the companies, subnational associations. In some cases, there are also some scientific conferences related to our sector, which provide actually substance for future topics to be developed. We had some case also where we had external ideas proposed to IHI, which we included into a call. That was a case, for instance, for a proposal we got on theranostics from a third party, and which we developed into a call in IHI. I think it was in call 5, if I'm correct. We also get suggestions from the Science and Innovation Panel, which is an advisory body under IHI. We also engage from our side with this panel to actually test our ideas, develop them, also being challenged by them on what is fit or not. And we also consider synergies with other initiatives, so mental health strategies, Green Deal, so thinking about how we can contribute to these priorities, for instance. And we also built on experiences from previous calls. So we had in call 1 a topic on biomarkers, which attracted quite a lot of applications. So we actually took that as a learning to develop also a future call, also covering other aspects of these areas. So we work together between industry associations, but also with the Commission and the IHI office to identify the areas that would contribute to the objectives. And I think fourth, but very important point, the point that we need to assess is what extent our industry can contribute in kind to this topic. Meaning that, and I've been involved in IMI too in the past, sometimes we saw some very good topic proposals that came, even from our members, from some companies, which we wanted to develop as topics. But if we could not get the critical mass of in-kind contributions, the conclusion was that it was a good topic, but not with a critical mass for us to launch in IMI IHI. And here it's the same in IHI. If we consider that the topic will not attract sufficient contributions from our members, basically we have to either postpone to consider getting more traction from our members or just direct to other programs. So just to highlight, I think, in case you want to know which calls are currently ongoing within IHI. So we have call 8 that was just launched. For your information, I suggest you check the IHI website, because as you can see here, when you check the page on the calls, there's also a section on future calls. And I think, contrary to many other instruments in Horizon Europe, we try really to put on the table for everyone to see the draft ideas that we are about to launch as a calls. So here on the screen, you see the future call section. Of course, currently it's empty because we've just launched call 8. But as soon as we will be able to share draft text that give an idea of what we are going to launch in the next calls, this is where we will publish that. So, and the idea here is to give as much time as possible for applicants to prepare good proposals. So as you can see here, and it was already mentioned by Elisabetta, we've launched the call 8 on 25th of June. So I will not dwell on all the details. Elisabetta gave it all. You have the webinars online in the call days on the IHI website. Please check that section there. What I would just highlight is that if you remember the discussion on two-stage and single-stage topics, so call 8 is a two-stage topic. And what this means is, if you remember what I said previously about every topic needs to make sure that we secure in-kind contributions. So in single-stage calls, this needs to be secured when public-private applications are submitted. It's not the case in call 8. In call 8, the industry contributors are already identified. They have committed. So the good news for you is that in case you're a public partner and you want to apply, you do not need to convince companies to get on board. They're already committed, which means that now it's up to you to actually network with public partners in order to prepare for the proposal in two-stage. So how to engage practically with industry? So that's not for two-stage calls in call 8, but in order to prepare for the future single-stage call, how do we engage? So there are different approaches. So in case this is call 8, you don't need to engage right now. You will only engage once you are the successful selected consortium for each topic. Then you will merge with industry consortium. This will be one single public-private consortium. This is when we merge. So important point for the two-stage calls, including call 8, is please do not contact the committed companies, because this would put you in a conflict of interest situation. So you just need to network with applicants for the full short proposals. For single stage, however, so this is not call 8, but these are calls that we are going to launch in future call waves. It's different. Single stage calls consist of applications of public-private consortia, meaning that for single stage application, you will need to get on board companies or possibly other types of contributors to make sure that you attract sufficient in-kind contribution. So for each given topic, there can be several applications, and the best ranked will be selected. So this is how single stage works. So how to communicate with industry in single stage calls. So again, for future calls, not now for the one launched in June, but in the future, IHI will also run call days to get information about the call topics. And you will have brokerage events in order to engage between public partners, but also with companies. So suggestion here is to start as early as possible so that you can network with your peers, with companies. There is a matchmaking platform that is being made available by the IHI office. So it's a platform that can be used to identify who's interested in the calls and how actually to network with them. Maybe one important point for you to keep in mind, especially regarding single stage calls. Let's imagine that you are an academic, you maybe have a good network of peers in Israel, in Europe, worldwide, but maybe you're not that well connected to companies and you want to attract them. So just keep in mind that for your application, you will need to get at least 45%, but our recommendation is 50% of the budget provided by in-kind contributions. So in case you're wondering what this consists in, so for our industries that consist mainly of personnel, consumables, subcontracting, we also include some clinical studies in some projects. So this is basically the type of costs and resources we involve in projects. One important point for you to keep in mind is that commitment from our members into projects does not come in 1 week. So it sometimes happens that our members are contacted 2 weeks before the deadlines, even 1 month, and this is actually quite short because actually our members need to get, in most cases, the green light from their management, and they need to build a case for that. So in 1 month, just getting the expertise secured, plus green light from the management that they can commit an in-kind contribution is a bit tricky. So suggestion is really start as early as possible to network, and please do not contact companies at the last minute. So as mentioned, so start early, be proactive, and be prepared to invest time in preparing the proposals. Start with your existing network, just to connect to check who in your network is considering preparing a proposal, maybe coordinating a proposal, meaning that you can join as a partner. You don't need to be the one coordinating. It can be quite time consuming to dedicate this effort. So be aware also that during the matchmaking, you need to highlight, what is your expertise, what you are bringing to the project, and pay attention also about the rules of the consortium size composition. So basically, it's not small consortia, just 2 partners. It's a little bit for bigger consortia that we're aiming at. So as I said, you have a platform for the matchmaking here. You just see a screenshot of the matchmaking platform that was available for call 7. So for the next single stage topics, you will be able to browse that platform and to scroll basically to see which are the companies and which are the contact persons who are interested in a specific topic and might provide in-kind contributions. So you can just contact these participants to explore their interest in a single stage applications once the single stage calls are launched. Just to be clear, for call 8, again, I remind you, do not contact the industries that were listed in the proposal. Just focus on the public side. In case you want to receive future updates from the IHI news, so you have monthly newsletters. Please consider registering to this newsletter. It really provides useful information. You also have usual social network accounts. And in case you would like to get feedback or to explore some aspects of industry collaboration with us, please feel free to contact us. As said previously in the slides on the industry associations, I just want to be clear that we cannot provide matchmaking services for you. So we cannot commit to bringing companies to your project. We cannot also advise you on building proposals because we are not consultancies, but we're happy to facilitate interactions and to explain how to engage with industry. So you have our contacts there. And this is basically it. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you very much, Nicolas, Patrick, and Guédré. Oh, I see there are no questions. Please feel free to reach out to me, to Nati, to Nicolas, to Patrick, to Guédré, to Elisabetta for any questions. I hope that this webinar helped in your comprehension of IHI in your future application to IHI calls. We will send you the presentations, the recording.
And they'll always go live, right? So we're going to put this recording live. So anybody, if you want to share it to anyone that couldn't join, go ahead and do that.
Yes. So it's time to wish good luck to everyone, to thank you again, all of our experts from IHI, and good luck.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Well, look forward to getting participation.
We do too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.